Priest on Priest action coming out right here. Krip's Priest versus Reckful's Priest, and yeah, there's some definite differences in the two. So let's have a look at what the draw brings us. Not ideal really for either. No, I think maybe Reckful might want to hold on to the... He may want to hold on to Shield Master and the Blade Master and then toss the Argent Commander. But he may feel that something like a 4-drop is something that he doesn't really want to hold on to. He wants something a little bit earlier. When it comes down to Krip, he wants to get rid of that Holy Fire. Doesn't want that. The Acidic Swamp Ooze is ultimately just a 3-2 creature because weapons aren't really involved here. And he might want to hold on to his Mind Control just to make sure he doesn't lose it in the deck and not actually pick it up again. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, but the Priest decks are pretty dissimilar, to be totally honest. This one that's coming up for Reckful is entitled the Indecisive Priest, and it's a little more conventionalist. We have some Northshire Clerics in there. We've got some Holy Smites even to deal some damage. Those Northshire Clerics, of course, are going to allow him to be able to card draw very aggressively at the beginning of the game. Injured Blade Master is pretty standard. Shattered Sun Clerics. Ascension Shield Masters, which is actually the first deck that I think we've seen so far with those in there. The Mana Heal comes out right there. Of course, both of them are priests and both of them are at 30 health, so ultimately you can't actually do anything initially. Swamp Ooze is going to be the first play, which makes absolute sense. There's nothing wrong with that. Ultimately, it's just a regular 3-2 creature against a deck like this. Oh. And he does draw into a Shadow Word Pain, which he immediately uses. There we go. Yeah, absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. That kills off the 3-2. That's gone immediately, and we go right back onto Krip, who now is unfortunately forced to play a Shattered Sun Cleric without being able to buff with it. That's right. If Reckful hadn't drawn into that Shadow Word Pain last time, the buff from the Shattered Sun Cleric would have given enough to get it out of pain range. So many great options right there for Reckful. He was able to play either Ascension Shield Masters or Yetis. He elects to play the Yeti, which is great against a Priest because neither of the Priest removal cards actually work. Right. The Shadow Word Pain, too low. Shadow Word Death, too high. That's right. So 4 damage creatures are actually the sweet spot if you're playing against Priests just in general. Really good decision there by Krip just to buff up his other Shattered Sun Cleric and just hit in for damage. He knows he doesn't want to trade against the Chillwind Yeti right now because it would still leave it on the board. Yeah, well, he is going to go for that, and the buff was a nice little decision there, but Shield Master is going to go in to protect that for the time being. Even if he was able to heal the Yeti, it would have still traded out, but he may be able to keep that alive for a little bit longer. And now we see one of those famous Drakes coming out. Not a bad time to play it. With the coin in your hand, that would make it a little bit more powerful, but he's going to elect for something a little bit different. He does have a Shadow Word Pain right now, which would be able to take out that Ascension Shield Master with the coin. All right, so. Yeah, I like the Drake play, honestly, because it does give him, it gives it 1 extra health because the card counts as a coin. And then he's able to do that, which gets rid of the Shield Master, and then he is able to do the 3-3 into the 4-1 regardless, leaving with a 4-7 on the board. Yes, and as we mentioned before, that 4 damage creature gets out of the way of the Shadow Words from our Priest. So that was actually about the best card he could have played right there. Spellbreaker comes in, though, and that 4-7's a 4-1. Yeah, so it's still going to trade out ultimately. He's probably just going to hit it with the Drake and get rid of that, but we'll see. And now on to the next turn. This is a fast-paced game already. We do have a Temple Enforcer, but ultimately that would still die regardless, so he's just going to trade that out immediately. And I can only imagine that his follow-up would just be the Injured Blade Master into a heal. Yes, that's going to make that Injured Blade Master a 4-5, of course, which again is very valuable at this stage of the game. It's able to trade favorably against most of the creatures that are present for Reckful. It's a really good card, especially since they buffed it, and it's fantastic in a Priest deck, so we're seeing it in almost every Priest deck. Yes. All right, so back to Reckful there, and Holy Fire possibility. His own Injured Blade Master or Ascension Shield Master. He's thinking about Holy Firing that, and it's not great to do it right now because not only is it not the best creature, but he's only down 2 health, so he doesn't get the full benefit, and he knows that. He is going to play his own, and then he's going to follow it up with Ascension Shield Master, which is absolutely fine. If there is a Shadow Word Pain, though, that's what he was worried about, because this is annoying, because it takes out the Shield Master, and then the Blade Masters are going to be able to trade. Holy Fire is going to be used, and then he's going to favorably trade his Blade Master for Reckful's Blade Master, which puts Krip again in the lead on the board here. All right. Let's see here, though. Azure Drake and Holy Fire really the only viable options right now for Reckful. Neither of those are good. I mean, drawing a card and healing himself is going to be okay, but he's going to lose the Azure Drake immediately, which is unfortunate. So, but he absolutely doesn't want to use that Holy Fire right now. No. I mean, if he does, it's a waste. It's not great. It's not great. He may have to, because maybe he just doesn't want to lose his Azure Drake so easily and give such a great trade there to that Blade Master, but he might have to do it anyway.
All right. Well, looks like he hasn't quite made up his decision yet. This is actually a possibility, too, and just go and take 4 damage next turn, to be totally honest. We saw Artosis make several decisions like this yesterday that turned out very favorable for him.
Yeah, I like that. It is probably the best. You don't want to just feed him a 4/4. It's really ultimately not a great idea. Unfortunately, it might mean that that Blade Master gets some serious buffing. There's a possibility of Temple Enforcer and Heal to take it up to absurd levels. He could, of course, just go for the Novice Engineer and the Temple Enforcer, or he could just play the Novice Engineer, Heal, and just let it happen. But Defender of Argus comes out as well. That's pretty good. I don't think he wants to use it this turn, but next turn that might be a possibility. Now that's a 4/4, and firm control in favor of Kripp. Venture Mercenary.
Yeah, and I think this is the only one in the entire tournament, to be honest. This Venture Mercenary is a 5-mana 7/6, but all of your other minions cost 3 more, so it is very expensive. Shadow Word Death comes out, of course, to take out the Temple Enforcer, and Venture Mercenary is going to drop right on the board afterwards.
That's totally fine. That's exactly what he's looking for there. Considering he's sitting on a Holy Fire, he's okay with taking a little bit of damage there. Mind Control is available, though. He may MC the Venture Mercenary. It is possible. Admittedly, the Venture Mercenary looks powerful, but it's got a downside. If you have it, then it is going to buff you up. But of course, he has a Shadow Word Death, so he's just going to eliminate it with that. Not a problem at all. And now continues to do yet more damage and maintain excellent board control.
This is getting to be quite the problem now, though, for, unfortunately, for Reckful. He doesn't have a lot of options to be able to extend board presence. If he throws out a 5-mana Azure Drake, he draws a card, of course, but that's immediately going to get killed, probably by the injured Blade Master right after this. So not a lot of great options. Holy Fire's not strong enough to take out the Temple Enforcer 1-for-1. He has Shadow Word Death available to knock out that Temple Enforcer,
that's
though.
One, though. Bear that in mind. And since Kripp really likes to take Ysera and Ragnaros in decks. Using that can be risky, but the Mind Control is there to deal with that ultimately, so it's not really that big a deal. We now currently have that 4/7 Blade Master, which is being a nightmare, but he doesn't need to worry too much. He can still heal himself, and he's okay with that. He doesn't want to play the Northshire Cleric because it'll be eliminated pretty quickly. Holy Fire comes out.
Ooh, and this is a lot of damage that's starting to get present. We could see, I mean, Defender of Argus plus Argent Commander right now is going to slam in for a ton of damage. He doesn't want to use Holy Fire because he doesn't need to restore health to anything at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, between those two, he's going to do, what, 5, 7, 11 damage this turn.
Well, he's elected not to do that, and instead he has used the Defender of Argus on his injured Blade Master, which is buffed very heavily, as you can see, and then the 2/3 Novice Engineer. I ultimately, with the Argent Commander, the surprise is the really important part of it. So playing it too early can be a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great, you've done some damage with it, but you revealed your Argent Commander and made it vulnerable. So you might just want to hold it in your hand for later. And you can see he was thinking about it. Unloading Holy Fire is a possibility right now. Obviously, he's not going to get healed by it, but he feels, you know what? I want to extend my health advantage. I want to make sure I break him down quickly.
Holy Smite is not going to add a whole lot here.
Not really.
He could Mind Control out that 5/8 taunt. Holy Fire doesn't trade favorably with anything, but it does restore him 5 health at the moment, which is certainly valuable. And again, Azure Drake has just kind of been sitting as dead weight for about the past 4 or 5 turns.
Yeah, that unfortunately does happen. He could play Azure Drake, which would actually buff the Holy Smite up, which would allow him to kill 1 creature, but it does still leave that 5/8 lying around to do a lot of damage next turn, which is a little bit concerning. All right, he's going to go for the Holy Smite play, and he gets Ysera. We'll see. Does he take 3/3 instead of the taunt? Yeah, there we go. Okay, there's the Northshire Cleric coming out. Now he heals himself. He gets another card from that. That extends his card advantage there. Well, actually, he doesn't get another card from that because it wasn't a minion, but he is able to extend his card advantage at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, let's see, that's 5, 7, 11 damage guaranteed this turn if he puts out the Argent Commander. But again, he's probably just going to hold that back. We could just see another injured Blade Master healing it up and swinging for 7 and kind of passing the turn.
That's a possibility. I wonder if Kripp just feels like he's now in the situation where he can just start hammering his opponent down, and he might be. He very well might be.
All right, well, Kripp is in a great position now to go 2-0 so far in this best of 5, and that would put Reckful down to his very last deck, which is a, let's see here, it is another Paladin, which is labeled no Tyrion, actually.
Yeah, bear in mind Ysera's been taken, but ultimately, without board control, if you have Ysera out and you're kind of low on health, because you have to spend essentially your entire turn's mana to get it, you can just die pretty fast. And it looks like he's going to go for it, and I absolutely don't blame him. And instead of just taking the creature out, he wants to take his opponent all the way down to 2. And I think that was probably the right call there. But the Mind Control is available to grab the Taunt. Fairy Dragon comes out, which is not that helpful. But if he Mind Controls the Taunt, that leaves him with that 5/3. He can then use his Azure Drake to kill the 2/3, but there's still a Divine Shielded charge creature available there.
That's
the Holy
right.
Fire is a possibility. If he does it, though, he still dies next turn unless he kills off yet more creatures.
He could also Mind Control the 5/8 Taunt and then attack with the Northshire Cleric into the little minion as well, and hope to try and sit back in that there's no more direct damage, that his he can heal back up the Indra Blade Master that he just stole, because the Argent Commander and the Indra Blade Master aren't going to be enough to get through it, and he extends an additional card. It's a risky play, but I mean, it gets him the best chance for success.
Yeah, and I think he knows, he's like, right, okay, I've just got to kind of take a chance here and hope that my opponent doesn't have the ability to just directly kill me. Using the 4/4 to get rid of that, absolutely fine. He can then heal that back up or heal the Blade Master, and he goes right for it. The Northshire Cleric getting into battle right here.
And he's done a damage. It's no longer at 30 health.
Excellent. So unfortunately, he has to heal himself instead of a minion, which means he doesn't get the card draw there, but well, there is a Mind Control, so guess what? He's getting it right back.
Yeah.
And that is going to be it. GG.
And Kripparrian goes up 2-0. Reckful is going to be down to his last deck, the Paladin deck entitled No Tyrion, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But man, Krip is on a roll.
Yes, he is. He really, really is. This Priest deck is very, very good, evidently, and he is handling Reckful quite nicely. That